All right, so you've gone through story or you power pass or whatever. You're level 500 plus and you're just starting to get into Lost Ark. What do you do? If you watch my other videos, that means you already know about horizontal, vertical, and just things like collectibles. You know about the power systems in the game. So you picked your character, and the first thing I'm gonna say is you're gonna want to look up a guide. The reason why you're gonna want to look up a guide is because you really want to know what your class can do, how you want to set it up, because we're gonna talk about setting up your character first. You're going to want to look at probably the Lost Ark Nexus community guides because they're going to be very up to date. We're just going to look at Machinist. We're going to look at Scouter. This is my main character. This is my main class. As you can see right here, everything has two different specs. There's a lot of information here. At the side here, you can see Evo and you can see AT. Now, we're going to look at Evo since that's what I play, and I'm just going to explain the main information. So explaining the community guide is that I mentioned before in the other video, you can see here are your early and mid-level card sets, everything you want to learn. Pretty much anything you want to learn about the class in general is going to be on this guide. They will explain why you use certain things, like why you're going to use these stats, why you're going to use these specs, why you would use any engraving. So if you are trying to learn this class, and even here they have notes on every skill, you can take a deep dive into this and learn about it. But for the sake of this video and setting up characters, we're just going to look at build. Got your standard build here, and you got your chaos dungeon build here. These are the most important things that we're going to be setting up from here. So you're going to want to look at the guide here. I'll explain everything on the guide here real quick. So these are the engravings that you want to have. These are all your accessories and what main stat you want. Here is your armor set up here at the top. This is your spec, your stat weight that you want to go for. Then obviously here are all your tripod gems and runes that you want to use. Down here is just another skill and also which ult you use. So that's how you break up the builds on here. And now we're going to go back in game. The default key is K to open up your skills. I don't have a name of the preset right now for some reason. We'll just say just the raid up here. Now I have my raid preset up here. You're going to want to just set these up to pretty much mirror what you have seen in the community guide. Now you can deviate from it if you want. You can try things out and see how you want. They also do have optional skills and things to trade out in the community guide that I should have went over, but I didn't. So you're going to make your raid one here, and then you can also have another one for chaos. And then you're going to actually want to do the same thing with card sets. You're going to want to have different card set presets here. Gems are going to be pretty much the same. You're always going to keep those the same. Well, actually, your gear set in general, your engraving. You're going to want to make a secondary build. So I have up here, I didn't name the preset. Again, I should have, but it's just a habit for me to know. Number one is always going to be my raid build, and two is going to be my chaos. So I have my raid build here, my chaos build here. As you can see, my engravings change because I want to go for preemptive strike since that was on the thing and on the guide. So now that I have chaos dungeon, I have my things, all that set up here. If you hit Alt E, you can see your mass presets. So now I see I have my mass raid preset and my mass chaos dungeon preset. Pretty much the same thing, just skills and gear change. So once you have those presets made, you can actually go into Alt Q. Chaos dungeon, for example, I click on it. You see right here, it is set to chaos dungeon. That means every time I load into chaos dungeon, it's going to load that chaos dungeon preset, or at least it should. The game does bug out from time to time. I have this problem where it doesn't load things properly. You might have to change it, but either way, you have that set up. Then for basically anything and everything else, you're going to have it set to your raid preset. Mass presets for me is a dark card set, because starting into this tier of guardians, you actually use the dark card set as opposed to the light card set. Legion commanders, for example, that's going to be set to raid. Pistol dungeon, that's going to be set to raid. And you're going to want to set this up for every character for chaos and everything else like that. It makes your life a lot easier, and it's one of the basic things and the first thing I set up when I make a character. So I'm going to quickly go over as much as possible of all the things you're going to do in Lost Ark every day. So first off, you can set up what you want to track here in this little cogwheel. You can put everything you want here. You can also see all your stats right up here. But this is what I track. What's most important is Chaos Dungeon, Guardians, Unas, and then also some raids. Now, something to note is that daily content has a thing called rested. What it is if I don't do today, I get points towards rested for the upcoming day. So for example here, my guardian raids, I've been lazy, I haven't been feeling like doing them. Rest bonus is at 80 out of 100. That means for each one of these bars here, which is 1 kill each, next 4 kills I get double loot. Pretty cool, but it does take me 2 days to get that double loot. So I am losing about 30%, 33% efficiency for doing it, but at least you get something for not doing things every day. Every day, you're probably going to run Chaos Dungeon. You can run 2 a day. This is your best source and your most consistent source of getting absolutely any in the game. If there's anything to do, it's Chaos Dungeon. At this point, I make more gold off Chaos Dungeon than I do raids. You do those 2 times a day, you do that solo. Guardian raids is a group grade content. You do one a day. I don't really do all mine every time, but anyways, group based content. I'm gonna quickly go over just how this works in matchmaking. So let's see if I can do this one. Okay, so let me quickly explain FPP4D. So what this means is party member 1 does flare, that's F. Party member 2 does P, pheromone. Party 3 does pheromone 2, which what this means is, so when he runs away, you throw the pheromone so he respawns back in the same spot instead of somewhere else on the map, so you don't have to re-find him. Flare, pheromone, and then 4D. 4D means foreplay does destruction. The reason why it's a 4 in there is because PD is not allowed because censorship for some reason. Sometimes there might be a corrosive or anything like that for C, but usually it's 4D. Now when you matchmake it, it's going to be the Wild West. Oh fuck, I didn't mean to do that. Sorry people. When you matchmake it, you just call out what you're going to do at the start, and then hopefully everybody actually throws their item. All right, so that's it for those 2 things. I should also mention UNIST task. So this is where you're going to do a lot of rep. This is going to be a lot of horizontal progress. But the main thing most people are going to do at that point later is probably Leap Zones quest. You do those because that's going to be your bottleneck for resources for honing. The good thing to know is if you want to get your reputations done, I really do suggest using alts, as you can set them to just do those reputations and focus only on that, because you can set up Bifrost. So for example, I have these set up for my 3 unit quests. This is quest 1, quest 2, quest 3, and quest 1 you can turn in and end that area. This turn in here has the turn in for both of these here. So I can speed run and get those done real quick. There's also weekly unit tests. Basically, you do those at the same time as you do other things. I usually do 1 of the Chaos Dungeon ones and 2 of the Cube ones. Which, speaking of Cube, let's talk about that real quick. You get Cube tickets from either your Bloodstone vendor, we'll talk about that later, and then also we get them from doing Chaos Dungeon. What it is it lets you do Cube right up here. This is where you're going to get a lot of materials. You're going to get gems. There is a lucky room that has silver, books, honing materials, but you are limited entries. So make sure to use those with those quests at the same time. Which now let's talk about those bloodstones. Bloodstones are a thing with guilds. You should be in a guild. Every time you log into a guild, you get donations, you do that, and then you get bloodstones. On top of that, there's also the guild request. Now, guild requests are assigned by guild leaders or somebody high up in the guild. They assign those quests and then you do them. You can do them once a week to get bloodstones on them. I've already done them, so I don't get bloodstones. So we pick and choose to do the Cube one, we do the Gina coin ones, and we do a Ocean Liner one. That allows us to get bloodstones from them. And then also at the end of the week, you see here, I have the contribution rate. Ah, there goes my potion. I got my contribution rate and my completion. I have that 100%. That means every day on reset, I will get a good amount of bloodstones back from how many people participate in things over the week. And additionally, there is also Siege and Raid Match. Siege is going to be something that is PvP usually, guild versus guild kind of stuff. Raid Match is more PvE. This is something that if your guild wants to, they can do it for extra Still by Blood Shards, whatever they're called, every week. And then the main thing you're going to be using these things for is talking to this vendor here and getting these boxes here, which have a chance to give you Cube tickets or silver. Obviously, you want the Cube tickets because Cube is very valuable. And while I'm here, let's talk about another thing. PvP. This is the PvP vendor. He has a lot of things on him. However, if you do not enjoy PvP, don't take the time to do it. And then I guess going through the world, let's talk about Compass. So these are going to be some of your weekly and daily events. Venture Island is going to be one of the things you're going to focus most. What it is there's 3 random islands and they have 3 random rewards. The main thing you're going to chase is Card Island. This is, right now it's Azura Island and it is cards. You know, tomorrow Azura might not be cards, it might be gold. So what you want to do is you want to look at this here, or you can look up here, see what your maps are, these events, and see which one is Card Island, and then do Card Island. This is the best way to get cards. It's your most consistent way to get cards. This appears once a day and twice a day on weekends. Next up is going to be Chaos Gate. It's this thing right here. You just go in and you kill mobs with a group of people. Make sure you're there on time so it's filled up and there's a lot of people there. This is content that will get removed over time, but don't worry about that part for now. And then when you clear it, you do get maps. Maps you can do after you clear it, you would link it in chat to people, and then you group up and then you go to the map, and then you make sure you click on the button that allows you to share map. This allows you to get the map rewards for amount of people at the time you would do one run. Next off is, Chaos Gate, you can only do one every other day. It does rotate with the field boss. So if Chaos Gate is Monday, field boss is Tuesday, and then so on and so forth, except for Sunday. They are both on Sunday, which I guess going over to Field Boss real quick, those are world bosses. Those are going to have a lot of horizontal content behind them, a lot of collectibles and stuff like that. They are the green ones on the map, and you'll just kind of choose what you want to do depending on if you're prioritizing the highest level or if you're focusing on horizontal content. Ghost ship is a once weekly thing. Find the ghost ship in the sea. This is also on the timer. Something to note is if you do die on the ghost ship, you do have to use a feather to respawn. You cannot respawn normally. And there is also a ship that makes it easier to do it because you get buffs on it. However, you do have to do the Bleak Night Fog Una task for like 15-16 days. And also, like I said before, Cascade is getting removed. So is Ghost Ship. Both of those are getting removed for a new content. Moving on to another thing you're going to do every week is Challenge Guardians and Challenge Dungeons. These are older contents that are somewhat scaled up. They're pretty easy to do, but what they do is they're going to give you a lot of materials. Also a chance of legendary card packs, legendary selectors. Don't miss out on those. You do the shortcut there, and you can just find party if you want. Like there is a group up right now. You can just join up on them and do that. And the last thing is really going to be just raiding. You get gold for 3 raids every week per character, but up to 6 characters. But on the topic of raiding, there's not many people who do what's called a blind one, which means nobody has any knowledge, any research. Generally, people want you to look up guides, look up videos, and know the fights. Additionally, if you are looking for groups for this stuff and you don't really have any success in Party Finder, there is the Lost Ark Looking for a Group Discord. I will link that there. It has seen a lot of success, and it's been started by a lot of the content creators. And then there are going to be siege events. So these here, like right now I have Slime Island right here. What these are is, these are ones that are controlled through those guilds who have the island. So remember the siege up here I said? When guilds take hold of it, they can hold a special island event. So there's going to be a siege on Slime and Medea. Hopefully your guilds will do them on your server. They can set it up to do it once every week, which has to be done on Saturday or Sunday. Hopefully they split them out. You get a good amount of accessories and ability stones for doing it. Now, 2 additional things I want to talk about is life skills and stronghold. Life skills is going to be all your gathering. I really suggest doing that. Even if you're not focusing on world tree leaves, at least do something like excavation. Excavation is the most popular one because it takes the least amount of time, reuses your energy so fast, and it's something that you're always going to need because this is how you craft fusion materials, and this is just something every player is going to need. Even if you want to just sell the materials, you're going to get a lot of gold off of it. And then lastly, a quick overview on your stronghold. You can go to here by using your song to it. You'll be taught about how to do it if you do the story naturally. If you skip through things, you're going to just skip through it. The lab is how you learn how to do a lot of things. As you can see, there's a lot. There's going to be a lot of things like honing researches and stuff like that. You just want to get them all done. This is going to cost you like pirate coins and life skill stuff. Workshop is where you're going to be crafting all your items. This is where you do fusion materials. This is where you do sage powder, which is going to be used for your skills. And you get the stone from the sage powders at this vendor right down here. These here are going to be ships that you send out. You're going to use these things to buy things from your vendor merchants that you're going to get through doing adventure tomes or buying it from other people's stuff. So generally, you just want to always send out ships. And additionally, if you do not have the time to run your guardian raids or cubes, so I only do it on cubes, on like runs you really don't care about, but you can send them out and get those things done for the day. Pet ranch means very little. It's basically just send them out to get cookies, and then you do cosmetics. You can look into that. Farm is a way is if you do not have the time to manually go out and do life skills, you can use energy for this. The downside is you get very less on the return, and on top of that, anything you craft through life skills is bound to that character. Manner is a bunch of items that you can use to boost random effects in your stronghold. Training is how you catch up alts to your characters. Right here you can see it goes through 50 to 58. The limits are is that like I can only get a character up to 58, but if I have a full 55 character, it can only go up to 54. It can only be 1 level lower than what your highest level character is. You can only do 1 character at a time. There is no downside to doing it. And then knowledge transfer, we talked about that in the first video of this primer series. So that's it. You now know all the content pretty much that's out available for you to do. Focus on your daily things first, obviously, and grades are important as well. Try to burn off life energy, and then just decide when you have the time, or try to make some time to do some horizontal content. Get that progress done, because it is going to be something you need to do. So that'll be it for this video.